Hi everyone. Today we're going to be talking about divine possibilities. And the reason why this is so important is because we often forget that we have divine possibilities because we might feel that we're overwhelmed with stress or trauma from the past, or we just feel stuck. And I know what it's like to feel stuck, and I know from a personal place, and I've seen many clients feel stuck. And I'm here to tell you, you are not stuck, you are not broken, there's nothing wrong. The only thing that's wrong is that you either don't recognize the possibilities that exist, and that happens if you've been really hurt, or there are possibilities that you know about and you've rejected them. You could have directly rejected them or subconsciously rejected them. And again, that's usually from trauma or intense crisis or stress as well. So we're going to go through some of that. And I have some notes down here because I don't want to forget anything, because it would not be ethical of me to kind of just start rambling and forget some important points. So here we go. I want to talk about, let's talk about spirituality first. Okay, so spirituality is whatever you want to make it. And if you're not a spiritual person, just think of it as science or energy science, because science and energy and spirituality really do go hand in hand. So I want you to think first about just general spirituality. So a lot of people will say like, oh, I'm one with source, I'm connected to nature, and they use those kind of terms. And they'll say things even like, I reject religion because religion hurts people, and I only want to focus on a sense of being one with nature or one with source, or I am my own energy, or my spirit and your spirit are one, and we're all interconnected and collective consciousness. And there's so many ways to say it. But also think about religion. Okay, so religion, yes, it is technically man-made. It is created for a sense of unity, just like collective consciousness is a unity. And acknowledging it means you are connecting to that. So when you feel isolated and you go to a yoga class, or you are with friends and talking about philosophy and so forth, it's really not that different than going to a church and having the support of the people that are in the church, or a temple, okay? So, or any other religious institution. So I want you to think about some of the terms that people use. So if you are thinking about religion and you think about Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit as one, okay, that's not that different than those who are saying like, I'm one with nature. So I just want to put that out there right now, because this really is about you and either your trauma or you're feeling stuck, okay? So if you're looking at this big picture of, okay, let's just take off the table that there's any lack of oneness, okay? Because whether it's religion or spirituality or science, there's some level of interconnectedness. Right now, if you're looking at this, we have a connection. And you might be thinking, okay, but Michelle, you don't know I'm here. But I'm actually doing this because I'm assuming that somebody's going to show up. And so I'm assuming that you're going to be there. I might not know you personally, but even if you're watching, you don't know me personally, but we're still connecting. Get it? Like there's still something here, okay? And you have the ability to connect with me, and I have the ability to connect with you and right back. So it's not that strange to say that even when people seem very distant, maybe, that there's a possibility that they could be connected, and that one person could inspire another. So maybe you could write to me and I would be very inspired and moved by something that you say. So it's so important to get the mindset of connectedness right now. That is going to be where you find the divine potential, okay? So going deeper, why do some people not see the possibilities in front of them? Well, I'm going to tell you, and you probably already know this, because they've been hurt. It's like one of these things like, this is a no-brainer. You don't see what's in front of you because shit, the last time you saw something in front of you, maybe you were hurt, or maybe when you were 5 years old, you trusted and you were hurt, or you're in a relationship right now and this might be the 5th relationship you're in where you've been hurt similar or in a totally different way even. And you're thinking, how in the hell is this happening? Because I want something different in life. But then what's happening is because you're so scared, imagine the heart area, and then you're scared. So there's a scab, and then you get hurt again, and there's another scab, and then another scab, and then another scab. So just keep pretending there's scabs, and they're building up around your heart and then around your whole body. So you can't see some of the beauty that might be out there for you because you're afraid. Because if you ripped these scabs off, what would be there is raw, okay? It is your raw, spiritual, emotional self. And that should be protected, but in a way that is protected compassionately, so that it's more of a beautiful, just think of your favorite type of fabric, silk, tulle, whatever it is, flannel, it could be anything, something that's beautiful and nurturing to you. And imagine that's in front of you, not layers and layers of scabs, okay? So most of you are not going to say flannel, okay? I love flannel. It's soft and cuddly, but maybe it's silk, maybe it's lace, maybe it's something like that. And so I want you to think about the idea of something in front of you that is beautiful. So I want you to take the tension that you have if it's in your relationship, and I want you to take the memories that you have that might have been really traumatic. So perhaps anything in your past that could have been traumatic. I want you to take all of that and I want you to put it on your lap. Okay, so I'm going to sit back a little bit here. And I will use my little elephant here. Oh, and wait, you know what? I'm going to use this rock. So I have this beautiful rock that my husband gave me. And I know it sounds like your husband gave you a rock. That's cute. He gave me this rock because he knows that I love the energy of things. And so to me, this rock is a perfect weight that if you wanted to meditate and you want to really be aware of your breathing, you just put the rock, like you sit back and you put the rock on your chest and you're very aware of the weight of the rock. So then you're very aware of your breathing. So without the rock, you're not as aware of your breathing. With the rock, you are. So I want you to imagine that this represents your past, your trauma, your relationship now maybe that is really stressful to you, anything that's negative, okay? I want you to imagine it's all in this rock. And I am symbolic of you right now, okay? So you're just passively watching, but I want you to allow the emotions to come up. I want you to allow the hurt that you're feeling in your current relationship, or the feeling of being stuck or not good enough, or your anxiety or your depression. I want you to feel all of that. And you're going to take this and you're going to put all of that in this, okay? And you're going to be symbolized through me right now. So I want you just to kind of wrap your head around that. So I am really, because we're one, I am connected to you right now and to any of the issues that you have, okay? Like I can handle it. So just bring them over to me. And we're just going to put them in this rock because I really don't want to keep them. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to put them in the rock and they're going to go right on my lap. Okay, so it's on my right thigh right now. So I'm holding all of this on my lap. So I have it with me, but I can still see. And my heart is still open and there's still some fabric and some awesome jewelry. And so it's all open here, okay? So we're still open, we're still flowing. There's a figure 8 going from you to me, back and forth, okay? And think of all the figure 8s, how many people are watching this. So there's all these figure 8s going, and all the figure 8s are starting to intertwine. It's all this beautiful energy because all of the problems, all of the crap, all the shit, all of those abusive issues, all of the feeling of not being loved, all of that is down here. It's on my lap. So maybe my lap to your lap, there's a little bit of something going on, okay? You're going to push all of that down, but you're going to breathe and you're going to put your shoulders back, and you are not going to apologize for having wants, desires, or even being angry at the past or even at the future. So everybody's always telling you to have joy, have happiness, have love, and have a smile on your face. You know, you're nurturing, you're a woman, you're this, you're that. No, allow yourself to be angry. You have to allow yourself to be angry. Why would you deny that? It's a human emotion. Allow yourself to be angry right now. And I want that figure 8 to keep going back and forth. And because you're symbolizing yourself in me, imagine me telling off the person that hurt you, or talking to your husband right now, or if you're in a relationship with a woman, telling off that female, or your mom, or your dad, or the teacher that embarrassed you, or anybody. Just imagine me telling them off, like in the worst possible way. And then I want you to imagine me going, wait a minute, okay? Imagine me right now facing them and saying, you know what, let's take a walk over to a bench and imagine whether they're alive, whether they've passed away, no matter what. Imagine me taking them to a bench. And I'm telling them, listen, I don't know what happened to you, but you hurt this woman. You hurt this little girl inside of her. And I need you to just take a step back and breathe. Now, I'm talking to the person that hurt you, okay? Or the people that hurt you, or the organization that hurt you. And I want you to imagine in this moment that I am your advocate, okay? And I am talking to that person, and I am, because you might not be able to forgive them, or you might not be able to get unstuck from them, I'm going to do it for you, okay? So I want you to imagine this. I am there with them, and I am telling them, you hurt this woman. She has body pain. She has emotional pain. She has some physical issues that she's struggling with. She has fears because of you. She has been stuck in some way in her life, and it's because of you. And I want you to, in some way, on a spiritual level, on a oneness level, whether it's from religion or science or spirituality in some way, I want you to just breathe and take some of that back. And I need you to own it, because you need to take this away from her. And I'm going to let you bring it through me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of cleanse it like a washing machine. And I'm going to give it back to her in a very clean, beautiful way. But you need to do this. So while you're sitting on this bench with me, person who has hurt her so badly, I need you to do that. And they are not going to be the human part of them. They're not going to be the asshole or the person who unknowingly hurt you or anything. They're just the spiritual part of them, or the scientific part of them that sort of is innocent. And they're going to just breathe. And they're going to think like, yeah, I've been through hell in my life, or I have generational pain, or my mom is the way I am, or my dad is, or I was abused. So they're going to start going back in their background. But I'm not going to worry so much about cleansing all of that. You know, we can't, Rome wasn't built in a day. We're working on one person or one organization. So they're going to go back, and they're not going to give excuses, but they're going to tell me why in some way that they did that. So we're going to pretend that that person on the bench is saying, you're right, I shouldn't have hurt her. And maybe I am out of control if they're still hurting you. And maybe I do need to love more. So I'm going to take that little tiny piece, that little tiny piece of happiness, or that little tiny piece of remorse, and I'm going to take it and say, thank you so much for that. And so what happens is, as soon as I take that, this rock becomes less heavy, right? Because now I've taken that, so it becomes lighter on me because it's lighter on you. Because this is all just symbolism, okay? So I'm not doing some big giant healing Reiki kind of thing right now. This is symbolism, but it really matters because we are one, because there is collective consciousness, because I've been through hell too, and I understand what you're going through on some level. I want you to just wrap your head around this exercise, okay? So imagine I'm taking that. This rock, this struggle becomes lighter. And because it becomes lighter, or maybe it doesn't actually become lighter, it just becomes different. Now it's just a beautiful stone made from the earth. Okay, it's not holding anything anymore. It's just beautiful. And I'm taking this, and I'm putting this forgiveness into the stone. And then we have the stone that is filled with beauty and forgiveness. And we are forgiving the past, and we are realizing, and this could be the present as well, we are looking at, how can I learn from this? How can I take this beautiful stone and not throw it away? How can I keep it, actually? So what we're going to do is, we've taken it from the lap, and now we have put it at the heart, okay, the heart center. So I want you to imagine you're taking this and you're putting it into the heart center. And into this heart center, you are allowing yourself to forgive. And you are taking an inhale, exhale, and bringing your shoulders down. And you might be thinking right now, there's no way in hell I can forgive. But I just want you to pretend, if that other person had an ounce of remorse, an ounce of something, could you give an ounce of forgiveness? I'm not asking you to 100% forgive at all. I'm actually just saying, could you do it a little bit? Okay? Could you just a little bit forgive? And it's not for them, it's for you. Are you willing to value yourself enough to let one piece of anger, frustration, fear, or anything go? Are you allowed to, in your mind, allowed to say, you know what? I'm going to make that one little piece of what this big feeling that I have. I'm going to take one piece of it and say, you know what? I'm ready to put this in this beautiful rock, and I'm ready to make it something completely different. So I'm ready to take my anxiety and call it vitality. So the next time I feel antsy and I just want to move and I feel like I'm jumping out of my skin, I'm going to clean, or I'm going to go for a walk, or I'm going to go to the library and start looking up books and just do something different that might not cost anything, but just do something different. And I want you to start looking at, well, when I have depression, I'm going to notice that maybe I just need to relax. So instead of just having the blinds down and sleeping, maybe I'm going to put on a really good movie, maybe some Audrey Hepburn movie, and or a documentary on animals or something beautiful. And I want you to think about, what could I do instead? So I want you to look at just little bits and pieces of what can I do instead. So instead of having anxiety, even though I'm feeling the anxiety, what can I do instead of worrying that I have anxiety? What can I do instead of worrying that I have depression or feeling indifferent? F it, I have depression. How about instead, you know what? I'm feeling kind of blah today. I think I'm going to keep my pajamas on and I'm going to watch a movie. And you know what? I'm going to enjoy this movie. I don't care that I'm laying in bed. I don't care that I'm in my pajamas. I want you to welcome the suffering is what I'm asking you to do. I want you to welcome the suffering, but just don't use it as a label. I want you to welcome just a piece of it and turn it into something different. And I want you to keep thinking about this visual of this rock. And if you are anywhere right now that you can get a rock or a seashell or something that has some kind of an earth vibe to it, okay? I want you to have that. Even if you have a coffee cup, okay? That's enough. If you have a coffee cup that is some kind of a mug that has some kind of an earth vibe to it, I want you to do that. There's a harp back here. If you have something made of wood in your home that could be symbolized as something that's earth, if you can go outside and get a branch, an acorn, whatever you can that you can actually just sit somewhere and that will stay for a while. So it can't be really a flower or something that's going to decompose easily. So I want you to have something like that, and that's going to be your symbol, not an altar or a vision board or anything fancy. I mean, we're talking about an effing rock, okay? So I want you to do something simple. You don't have to have drama around it. It's just something simple and personal. So I want you to take that thing, and that's going to represent that one piece of how you're going to transform this. And you're going to put it somewhere beautiful that you will be able to look at it. I keep my rock, the one that I'm using to symbolize what I'm helping you with if I had superpowers. I'm taking it and I'm putting it right next to my desk. I keep it right near my harp. So I want you to imagine right now that I've taken all of your stuff that was on my lap and I have put it next to me, but I've transformed it and you've transformed it a little bit, because even me talking about it, you were thinking, well, maybe I could do this or that. And if you thought like, still, no, I can't do it, maybe you're just not ready today. But you know what? Look at this video again tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow you'll be ready, or the next day, or next week, or next month. It's okay to not be ready in this second. We are so trained as women to be super women all of the time, that even when we have some kind of self-help or some kind of coaching or some kind of therapy, we think that it means, well, she said to do this right now, and I'm struggling, so that means I'm a failure if I can't do it right now. No, absolutely not. Do it at your own pace. Meet yourself where you are. It's okay to honor if you're not ready in this moment. And if you are ready in this moment and you're thinking, well, wait a minute, Michele, I can do more than just one piece. I can commit to 2 pieces. I can do, maybe in the morning if I'm anxious, I'll do this. And in the evening when I'm anxious, I'll do that. So if it's right before bed and I'm feeling anxious, I'm going to read a really good book. I'm going to go to the library. I'm going to get a really good book or 2. And I'm going to read something super positive right before bed, instead of having insomnia and laying there and freaking out over things I can't fix in the moment anyway. I'm going to read something amazing. So, and going back to my notes here, I want you to think about when you are in that place of, okay, maybe I can make a little tiny transition. Now remember, we still have this person on the bench, okay? We're not taking them off the bench because we want to keep them on the bench. I want you to get in your mind, this person's sitting on a bench. Maybe it's someone who's passed away and they're on a bench and they're in a park. Maybe they're looking at a beautiful lake. Put them somewhere beautiful, even if they really hurt you. I don't care if they raped you. I don't care if they hurt your child. Put them somewhere beautiful, because the only way you set yourself free is by setting the anger that you have with them free, or the fear, or the frustration. It doesn't mean that I want you to literally take this person to a freaking park. Okay? No, I don't want you to act out on that. This is more just imagination. Because in imagination, that's where solutions actually happen. You don't actually have to be in the situation. So this is really about releasing you from feeling stuck. This is releasing you from being in the bondage of this person's abuse. This is not about making that person feel better. And this is not about you being okay with them or okay with the abuse or okay with the stress. Now, if this is somebody that you're still with, so say this is a relationship issue or it was a relationship that you're still having a hard time getting over, I want you to think instead, if you have to see this person day to day, I want you to think about instead that part of them is on a bench and you're going to try to either, with the possibilities, the divine possibilities, you're either going to try to see the solutions that are there. Maybe it's therapy. And you know what? If you went to a therapist and it didn't work, find a new one. You're not going to connect to everyone, and neither is your partner. So even if you connected to a therapist, maybe they didn't. Or coaching, or work with me, whatever you want to do. Or another option is maybe that you've rejected possibilities that have already been there. This is what that looks like. And it goes right hand in hand with what I just said. Well, we already tried therapy once, so it's not going to work. Or he just doesn't love me. He's just a jerk. I just have to deal with this. I just have to stay for the kids. Or I try all the time and he doesn't want to talk to me. Or whatever. It sounds like that. That's where you're pushing away a possibility, because you always have to give someone another chance. Unless they're truly hurting you, it's truly abuse, you need to get out. And I wish there was another way to say it, but if you're truly in abuse, you do need to get out. You are worth more than being in abuse. And there's a life out there for you that is deep. And so the divine possibilities that are there, you can't hold yourself back from. So even if you have financial struggles or whatever, you have to look at the different possibilities. But the only way that you're going to see a way out of that fear and frustration or the feeling of being stuck is to start putting some of those problems on your lap. If they're up here, they're at the heart, they're at the mind, they're at the throat, and you won't have a voice. You will feel like you're not being heard. You will feel like your heart is broken and that you're wrapped in stone, or that your mind you can't think clearly, or you feel depressed or anxious all of the time. But if you put it on your lap, that's different, because you're putting it on your lap is like just a resting place. You're not owning it. It's not even a part of you there. It's not hovering over top of you. It's just sitting, and you have the ability to push it to the side like I just did. So I want you to kind of get that visualization, because you are worth more. There is a legacy within you. You are here because there were many, many women, hundreds of women before you that created you, that created the DNA that is you, the men and women. Especially think of the women in your life. So the women, the mothers, the grandmothers, the great, 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 great grandmothers, the women that you never met. Like you probably know, and maybe not, depending on your background, but you probably know who your mom was, who your grandmother was, great-great-grandmother. But you probably don't know 17 generations back. There could have been a woman that looks just like you, who even had some of the same struggles that you might have in different ways. So all of these women had strength, because if they didn't have strength, they would have just disintegrated as a lineage, and you wouldn't even be here. You are the product of a lot of female power, empowerment, power and beauty and spirit, and your DNA is infused with these strong women and men. So the fact that you're suffering right now and in conflict might just mean that you're denying that strength within you. And so that symbol of that rock and that energy of something earthbound is to remind you also of everything that you are. And so when you are in that place where you feel like you're alone, you are so freaking not alone. You are the result. You are never alone. Your DNA is infused with generations and generations of winners, of women that said, no, I deserve X, Y, and Z. So even if your mother or your grandmother or your great-great-grandmother had a struggle, a life filled with struggle, she still survived. Even if she died very early in her life, right after you were born, she still survived to make you happen. Your great-great-grandmother, no matter what her struggles were, or the women that you don't even know, no matter what their struggles were, we all live, we all pass, okay? Whatever their struggles were and however they passed away, their life still was filled with a level of potential. And so if you're a woman right now, whether or not you can or cannot have children, or whether or not you will or will not have children, it doesn't matter. Your life is not about just procreating. Your life is about living in a way that you are inspiring other people. So you might not have a child, but you might have pets, or you might be inspiring a young woman, or a little girl, or a little boy. I mean, you don't know what you're capable of, maybe yet, or maybe you do know, and that scares you. That scares you that you are filled with so much. And maybe that's the problem, is that the divine possibilities are there and you know them. And that is what is giving you the anxiety and the depression, or whatever the conflict is. Or the problem in your relationship might be that you know deep down that you deserve more. It's not about that you don't think you're enough. A lot of times it is where you might feel that. I've seen clients, I've seen their emotion come up and they feel that they're just not enough. This person has betrayed them or hurt them. But it's really about they know that they are worth more, and it hurts them that the other person doesn't see it. So I want you to think about having support around you, somebody that cares, and I want you to have that memory of everything that I just said by finding something as simple as just a rock. I don't need you, like I said, you don't have to do a vision board. You don't have to do a big ceremony. You can if you want. You don't have to. Life doesn't have to be that complicated. Healing doesn't have to be that complicated. It just means you have to start seeing what is there for you. And sometimes you need a reminder, and sometimes that reminder is something as silly as a little rock outside. So the reason why I'm choosing for you right now to get something earthbound is because for me personally, when my husband gave me that stone, it was like, wow, you would have thought that he gave me like, a diamond bracelet. Okay. I was so touched by it, but that's because he got it. He understood. And so I'm telling you like, hey, I understand. Like, even if you love material things, and like a lot of people do, and we all do to some extent, it's not like what I want to give you right now isn't about something flashy. It's about just something more organic. So that's why something that's simple, that you can appreciate, that can symbolize a length of time. Like to me, a rock, a stone like that, that's been around for a long time. That stone's been around longer than me and my great grandparents, okay? So to me, that stone has a longevity to it. Wood has a longevity to it. All of these things are very beautiful. So a lot of ecotherapy is about understanding our connection to nature and also about honoring nature. So if you want to feel more unstuck, okay, I want you to get something near you that is going to remind you that you are a part of a bigger picture, and that there have been many generations before you, as signified by an acorn that was only there because many, many trees before it were able to produce it. So everything has longevity. Everything's in patterns. So everything that we see around us is here because of longevity. And so the divine possibilities and the potential and the idea of our being able to get unstuck is within that symbol, actually. And so the last thing that I want to bring up is sometimes we think in terms of, okay, this sounds like a big endeavor, because we're always looking to be this whole person, right? And get rid of all of the problems and just be happy. And so I want you to think in terms of bits and pieces, a little rock, a little acorn, a piece of furniture in your home, just something small. And I want you to think in terms of just bits and pieces, because if we're always looking at being a whole person, and when I say whole person, I mean fixing all of the problems, okay? And all of the struggles, which there's always going to be new struggles. There's always going to be new issues cropping up. But if we're always thinking in those big terms, then we're always going to be seeing big problems. I want you to think in terms of small areas, and in those small areas, I want you to look at the gratitude. So for me, I can look at that little stone and just have gratitude. I could think about the love that I have in my life now, which I did not always have. And I can look at the health that I have now, which I did not always have, and a lot of different things. It can remind me of that. It can also remind me of the people that I had to put on that bench, because I can still even love them, but I can love them from a distance. And so if they are far away on a bench and they're just healing by looking at an ocean or a lake or whatever it is, I am not vindictive. I am pushing them away from my psyche and giving them as much beauty as they need to be a healed person or a healed spirit, whatever it is in my mind. And I can then take that weight, that load off of me and live my life more freely with my heart more open. So I hope that you have been feeling this kind of beautiful eternity sign, that figure eight, flowing between us. And I hope that anything that I have said right now has helped you in some way, and hopefully everything that I have said has helped you in some way. So namaste, thank you, and I will talk to you soon.